Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. Now, the title of today's Masonic education discussion for April will be the aspect of Freemasonry and its place and role in the AI transhumanist future that we're currently dealing with. At the current stage of human history, advanced technology and artificial intelligence have become prominent factors in our future. The transhumanist movement is a major part of this situation. Transhumanism is a movement in favor of using technology and artificial intelligence to better human health, increase lifespan, and enhance cognitive capabilities. The role that AI and transhumanism are currently playing in our world is one that is taking us away from the human spirit. Face-to-face human interactions are decreasing, while relationships, jobs, and other aspects of human life are getting digitalized. We are now dependent on this technology, for we see that any business or social interaction requires internet or some sort of connection to the World Wide Web. Jobs, schools, and even everyday life have reached a point where things will no longer function without internet or smartphone technology. It makes you wonder, right, how our ancient ancestors acquired the knowledge to build the magnificent structures throughout the world, and whether the current technology is meant to harm us or increase our growth. Modern technology has made things easier, but its dark side is enveloping us into a web of control. People, and especially the younger generation, feel lonely and depressed, and they lack a sense of purpose now more than ever. Even though the world is more connected, children growing up would rather be given a smartphone or tablet than go outside, play, and interact with others. Even worse, the AI network basically surveils you at a constant level. You have perhaps noticed that whatever you say will trigger related advertisements on all the networks you use, even concerning very personal matters. There have been some scenarios which you can't prove it, but even when you're thinking about something and you don't utter it, the aggregate of the AI system will be able to pick up on your thoughts as well, and you'll see related advertisements on whatever medium, social media, or whatever aspect of the apps that you use. It will show you those same things that you were thinking about. This is scary because it seems like the AI is becoming a sentient living being. On the positive side, humanity can change the course of this AI transhumanist wave sweeping the globe by repurposing it for good. This concept applies to all things. We can use technology for good or bad. As you see in the Matrix movie, even the fourth one, how it showed you that there were the good ones and the bad ones. So just like how you have good and bad in humanity, that also exists in all facets of existence. That duality, that order and chaos, that one cannot exist without the other. And it will ultimately become whatever we feed into it. Technology must be used to spread messages of love, peace, unity, and positivity in a world that is becoming increasingly divided, as we're seeing now. We have been given divine free will, yes, and even this AI entity is going to become what we allow it to become through our collective action. Freemasonry can help. Our fraternity is a benevolent organization designed to uplift fallen humanity. But Masons must be more involved with the local communities in which they reside. We have no excuse in the US, USA, and the world with an organization as significant as ours, designed to uplift humanity, and yet we have issues like suicide, drug overdoses, loneliness, and an overall lack of purpose among young people. As with the Doomer generation memes going around on the internet, as you all have seen, our brotherhood needs to progress its leadership and its ideas into the 21st century, as we're seeing even with the generational gap, which inevitably is going to be addressed one way or the other within the next 10 years. It has to be. We are a work in progress, and the "we always done it this way" approach doesn't benefit an organization meant to labor in the quest of uplifting humanity, where you're taught every day to improve yourself. We encourage Masons to use technology in a good way and represent their true selves, refraining from bigotry, ego, pride, racism, and everything of a lower nature, for this will drive young people away from you on a public forum. Our job is to unite humanity, not divide it. We cannot allow those who post anything against someone else's faith or race and then show up in lodge to call the same person brother. This will not work. The younger generation of today are to be the leaders of tomorrow, and we must utilize technology and make apps and online forums to make the fraternity or ourselves, in any shape or form that you represent yourself as, approachable to this younger generation who are hungry for outlets promoting social changes or social justice. We can get involved in our communities and find schools that need help, where teachers are paying for supplies, lunch debts, and help set up tables in local schools and colleges, which will also eliminate misconceptions, not only about you, but anything that you represent. We are all one human family. Get to know your community and tell them about yourself and how you can be a part of their lives and they can be a part of yours. Tell them about your family and get to learn about theirs. It is a beneficial to use money out of your lodge budget, an average of only $50 to run ads on social media for parties, for all occasions throughout the year, welcoming the local community into your lives for Halloween or other things like community events that people do, and invite them into your lives. If this is followed, most people would not keep walking or looking the other way when passing a Masonic temple. This is the generation in which if one doesn't feel an emotional connection to you, then they would rather stay home and be entertained by technology and let all Masonic buildings have a for sale sign on it. And that is happening rapidly across this nation and the world. In order to survive, we need to get involved in the social campaign with technology and with the community and face issues and address issues that the younger people are facing. It's not about the members, as the higher-ups always like to promote in their seminars. They will have to face the reality and make Freemasonry an organization whose values live in the hearts of all individuals. This will immortalize the ideas of what the Brotherhood represents, even if technology completely takes over, right? And that's exactly what it is. An idea that lives in the hearts and minds of individuals. If you pass that on and teach that to people and they teach that to others, then you immortalize the idea that you're representing. For example, there are many rehab centers and homeless centers that can be served hot meals or just give someone a shoulder to lean on. There is a spiritual price to pay for our actions and inactions. We owe it to ourselves and our brothers not to turn our backs and just circulate monies within Masonic charities, rather than gifting it to local communities. We need to inform the younger people through the technological means that our organization unites people, no matter what religious or racial background. We must give them a reason to put their phones down and come hang with the Brotherhood, and by promoting relationships, education, true companionship in times where it's mostly needed. There is much more to Masonry than memorizing lines and falling into the corporate trap of just needing enough bodies to run the show or to ensure the survival of your organization. There's the human element. To conclude a lot of these thoughts for this Masonic education segment is that the reality is that our organization needs to use both the technological and the in-person approach to welcome the younger generation. If we don't, then the inevitable future awaits us, in which the anti-human values enshrined in many of the transhumanism aspects we see will eventually overtake our lives, and people won't care anymore for an outdated social club that is not helping the community. The ball is in the court of the Brotherhood. The choice is ours. It's mine and it's yours. When you make your organization a household name as a benevolent organization, then the idea of immortality comes to fruition, no matter what technological age one is facing, right? So the next time you go to lodge, take a moment and think about how your local lodge is helping the community and its members. And maybe ask yourselves, what are we doing any of this for? Why am I showing up here? How is it benefiting my life or benefiting the lives of others? Please take charge and become the shepherds of your communities. And that's exactly what it is. And what I've described here in this Masonic education segment is something that I have covered in the same article that I had published in the Southern California Lodge of Research magazine. I believe it was the March edition, March 2020 edition, that my article was published concerning the same conversation and Masonic education segment that we're having. So it's important right now. We see young people affected in many various ways, and we look at the world right now. It's suffering chaos. It's going through war, hatred, division, inflation. People are not marrying. They're not committing to each other. Nobody wants to be friends with each other. Everyone has their countless hours of entertainment, video games, so many things which are just eliminating the human interactions. So at the times where Freemasons were kingmakers and revolutionaries and shaping the world as we know it, where are they today? Where are the Freemasons in a time of war, in a time of conflict, in a time of hatred, division, confusion? That's the question that needs to be asked. What are you doing in your local communities to help yourself, to help your family, to help the youth, to be a mentor to somebody? Everyone lives in fear, in a time of cowardice. You could go outside and somebody could get jumped and attacked. 9 out of 10 people will pull out their phones and record instead of going in and helping somebody, right? So this is what we're dealing with, a society that lacks courage, lacks accountability. Instead of seeking the help that they need, they'll play the victim and continue their cycle of self-destructive behavior instead of finding healing and oneness within yourself, so you become a more complete human being. But this is the reality that we're dealing with. The job system, the education system, the work system, everything, my dear brothers, friends, and sisters that are listening, everything is changing rapidly. So we have to realize, where is any of this going? We have to think. We have to ponder. And we have to see. Look around and see what kind of world are you leaving behind for the people that you love. What kind of world are you giving them? And what can you do to become a better part of their lives? And how you can be a part of their lives and how they can be a part of your lives. That is ultimately what it comes down to, honestly. And we must be willing to face that in the realities that we're dealing with. Because the young people today, anywhere where they see, they're very intuitive. The younger generation they're very special. This is what a lot of the spiritual people say about the return of the star seeds or the indigos. I see that, and how a lot of these younger people are so spiritually advanced, and they're very adept in their studies, because in the end the true initiation happens from the heart anyway. Even if you do become an initiate of any path or organization, but it was never within you, then you are still profane. You were never truly initiated, as the true initiation happens from the heart. And a lot of these younger ones that are growing up today already possess that quality of the purity of the heart and the purity of self and others, and to be able to find your calling in life and your place in life. So if they're going to see any organization or any path in life, whether it's Masonry or anything else, then these younger people are going to bring in their own revolution, as we see with everything being virtual now, with the jobs, education system, so many things that are taking a virtual turn. Even Freemasonry, in many ways, is adapting to this virtual future for those that are in the fraternity and know and have been following the changes that have been taking place, or have noticed how many organizations have improvised to be able to adapt to a virtual future. So that is the reality that we're dealing with, and we need to know that change is inevitable. Things never stay the same. Just like how your life is a storybook, you go from one place, one situation, one event to another. You're never meant to be in one place for the rest of your life. So everything you just let go, learn the lessons you were meant to, move on to the next chapter of your book, so on and so on, until you depart from this human life and you fulfill the purposes of all the things that you were meant to do, people that you were meant to see, places that you were meant to go, with full conviction, like the alchemist, knowing that he was meant to become the being that he was meant to become. The answers and the treasure that he was looking for was right there in his backyard, but he had to go through that ordeal for him to appreciate if something had already been given to him. So you have to go through those ordeals in your life. And, with the technological future that we're facing, that's going to be more prominent. It's definitely going to be more prominent, and I hope those that took the time to listen to this presentation on the aspect of not only the role of Freemasonry, but any organization or thing in the future, I hope it benefits you in some way, and I hope the month of April treats you with much happiness and peace with everything going on for you and your loved ones. Thank you so much.